Hello, everyone. This is Apurva from Mom's Belief. I hope you all are doing well. Allow me to introduce our today's guest. It's my pleasure to introduce you all to Dr. Ranjit Kumar Manokaran. He's MD Pediatrics from AIIMS, DM Pediatric Neurology from AIIMS New Delhi, currently working as Assistant Professor, Pediatric Neurology, Department of Neurology, Sri Ramachandra Medical College, Chennai. He is the winner of the prestigious Johnstone Medal for Academic Excellence from Madras Medical College, Chennai. In this webinar, Dr. Ranjit Kumar will be presenting on autism spectrum disorder, the role of pediatric neurologist. Very warm welcome, doctor. Thank you for joining with us today. Now, without any further ado, let's start. Over to you, sir. You can start.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mom's Belief, for inviting me for this wonderful evening and giving me an opportunity to interact with you as well as your team members and also our parents and participants. So it's given me a lot of pleasure. We do a lot of webinars and seminars and all online presentations in the last 1.5 years of pandemic. But majority of them have been to medical students and medical practitioners. So we do sometimes get opportunity to interact with parents. So I view this as one such opportunity. So feel I would welcome all the parents who have gathered here online to be open, non-judgmental, and feel free to ask any questions or clarifications and give your comments. So in next 20 to 25 minutes, I will be introducing you to what is autism spectrum disorder, what the role of a pediatric neurologist, and what parents need to know. So I if I can give you some perspectives which you have not known so far, so that will be the justification for today's presentation. Please move to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. So slide number one, the previous slide. So I have made this presentation both English and Hindi. So those who can read Hindi can also use these slides. So, so basically, to begin with, what is autism? So nowadays, the newer terminology is autism spectrum disorder. It is a neurobehavioral disorder where there is a behavioral problem which usually has an onset, that is on disease starting less than 2 to 3 years of age, and this is characterized by three major core features. One is a qualitative impairment in social interaction, whereby here we are referring to communication and relationships. Then there is a repetitive restrictive behavior that is characterized by stereotypes. Stereotype means repeated movements. Restricted pattern of interest. The interest range is very limited. Repetitive behaviors and activities. That is one group. Third, this is also characterized by major deficit in language, that is speech delay. So, social interaction, language and speech delay, restricted repetitive behavior. These three constitutes the triad of autism. Let's go to the next slide. So, when does one suspect autism in a child? Next, please. You can move on to the next one. Yeah. So, this is basically to understand how can we diagnose autism in an early stage. Absence of babbling by 1 year of age. Babbling means the kind of mama, baba, dada, that kind of sounds babies produce. If it is absent by 1 year, an absence of meaningful gestures like pointing towards an object, waving bye bye, these are meaningful gestures. If they are also absent by 1 year, we give the red flag for single word with meaning up to 16 to 18 months. If the baby doesn't have a single word with meaning by 16 to 18 months, that is a red flag. There is no two spontaneous word phrases by 24 months, 2 years. That is a red flag. And if there is a loss of previously acquired language and social skills, this is another red flag. If these features are present in a early age, then one can suspect whether there is a possibility of autism. Go to the next, please. There are some other features. One is lack of eye contact. Eye contact is a very essential feature for human beings. So if there is a lack of eye contact, that's an initial suspicion. Then imitation, like imitating the actions of parents or other members. Pretend play. Pretend play means playing with say like a Barbie doll, like as if they're doing some gestures to the doll, taking a mobile phone and speaking as if speaking over the phone, taking a car and playing as if he is driving. That is pretend play. If that is absent, that is also one marker. Joint attention, like you ask the child, like point towards the moon or point towards the animal or the car, they also should pay joint attention, which is lacking. And social interest and social play is, we have already discussed, and language is used only rarely. So these are some of the features which one should make suspect for autism. Next slide, please. Okay. So having discussed when to suspect, what are the symptoms which we as doctors and pediatric neurologists need to diagnose? Next. Okay. So this I want the parents to understand, because there are so many different methods of diagnosis and groups. The psychiatry associations as well as pediatric neurology associations throughout the world accept this criteria, that is DSM-5, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 5, for diagnosis of autism. Here, these are the core features: persistent deficit in social communication and interaction, restricted repetitive behavior. If these two are fulfilled, another important point to be seen here is the symptoms must be present early in the childhood. Here, the age has not been specified. Previous criteria used to specify the age as 2 years. Nowadays, it can be diagnosed even less than two, because DSM-5 has not specified it. The symptom should be significant enough to impair your activities of daily living, daily functioning. Only if these features are satisfied, one should give a label of autism spectrum disorder. For example, you may have a child who just has speech delay, but he doesn't have a restricted repetitive behavior and it is not impairing his day to day life functioning. That won't be given a label of autism spectrum disorder. Similarly, you have a child who is otherwise speaking well, eye contact is good, but he has a repeated habit of hand clapping or spinning. But that is not significant enough to impair his day to day life functioning. So, that also won't be classified as autism spectrum disorder. You need to fulfill all these criteria to be able to labeled as autism spectrum disorder according to DSM-5. So one should be 100% sure before somebody gives a label of autism spectrum disorder, because I know giving such label creates some kind of anxiety and stigma among the parents, and that will need proper counseling and communication. So be careful when, as a clinician or as a specialist, before you give a label of autism spectrum disorder. Go to the next slide. How do we diagnose? I saw one question recently. How do we test the kids for autism? Remember, there is no blood test, there is no CT scan, or there is no COVID RT-PCR like test to diagnose autism. The diagnosis of autism is purely clinical. Wherein, please go to the next slide. So some parents seek the diagnosis or seek the medical attention, medical specialist for some complaint, and he asks detailed history and he does examination and also observe the child. So based on history and examination and what he has observed, he applies certain specialized tools like the one which we have discussed, DSM-5. In India, we also have tools like INCLAN, that's an Epidemiological Network Society of India. They also have developed tools which is like AIMS modified tool. These tools can be applied as clinical tools. So remember, the diagnosis of autism is purely clinical, not based on any blood test. So one should be extremely careful to be able to go to a specialist who is trained in diagnosis, not just any other person. So if this criteria is positive, then we can do severity scoring. The severity scoring of autism is done worldwide according to Childhood Autism Rating Scale. So these are the two DSM-5 criteria for diagnosis and CARS rating scale for autism. So these are the two criteria which one need to fulfill to be given a label of autism spectrum disorder. Please go to the next. Yeah. So now we'll go to one domain in more detail. Social communication domain. We have already discussed delay in social smile, Eye contact is very key feature. Facial expressions are limited. Body postures are meaningful postures. Verbal, non-verbal communication, gestural communication is limited. They have lack of spontaneous and sharing of enjoyment, interest with other people. For example, we used to ask if a kid, if I come and give a gift to your kid, will he come and show immediately to you as to the parent? Usually, that's a common act which a child should do, sharing of interest and enjoyment, which is lacking. And also poor social interaction, wherein like they don't develop much of friendship, prefers to play aloof, prefers to play alone, lack of friendship. So these are some social communication domains. Next, please. Yeah, you can keep on moving. Conversation is limited. Sometimes you can have a range from a-verbal to even fully verbal is also possible, but it is limited. Echolalia is repeating the same words. If I ask what is your name, he will say what is your name. If I ask how did you come to the hospital, how did I come to the hospital, same words. Sometimes there will be a reversal of pronouns like using I for you for I. May not be able to understand gestures sometimes, or proto-declarative pointing is absent. Proto-declarative pointing is nothing but using his own finger to point the objects of his needs. So what he will do is he will either come near the water and cry if he wants to have water, or he will catch the hands of the parents and show them. So he doesn't have his own proto-declarative pointing. These are some of the features of social communication. Next, please. And repetitive behavior, very important. They have so many of repetitive behaviors like body rocking, finger twisting, hand flapping, spinning, uh, to toe walking. Fascinated with certain numbers, letters, schedules. They have fixed routines. They have fascination for water. They have fascination for spinning toys, wheel of the car, like fascinated with your water taps, even some special textures like paper or clothes. So they may even look fascinated with only parts of the toy. So these are some of the fascinations they may have, and they may have special kind of a routine or rituals. For example, ritualistic behavior, arranging toys in a specific way, lining up the toys in a specific way, reversing the wheel of the car and playing it. Just keep on switching and switch off the fan for only to look at the spinning. So different rituals. So these are some of the features which will be part of autism. Next, please. Yeah. So what can we get? We can see from visual. Sometimes they may just go by the side and look things at an angle, like with the vision. Another important feature is they may pretend to be deaf. If you call repeatedly by the name, they won't listen just with one call. They will need repeated calls to listen. They may have sniffing of objects. These all come under sensory issues. Certain specific food preferences, mouthing of objects, compulsive touching of textures. They may have hypo or hypersensitivity to pain. They may react excessively to pain or react very little to pain. They may have been, it's very difficult to make them bath in certain situations. So remember one point, both as parents as well as specialists, not all features will be present in all kids. So that is why it's a spectrum. You may have minimal features to maximal features, but not all will be present in all. And the same time, the severity of each feature may not be same. So the features are dynamic. Some features may resolve, some features may evolve over a period of time. So it is a very dynamic kind of a condition. Next, please. So having discussed the clinical features, this is very important. Many times we think about autism, we think only about the core features. We don't discuss about the comorbidities. What are the comorbidities means? What are the associated conditions which can be seen in children with autism? Here, the role of the pediatric neurologist is a crucial role. Next, please. Psychiatric condition. As I told you in previous slides, autism is not a psychiatric condition. Autism is a neurobehavioral condition. But there may be instances where there may be associated psychiatric conditions like OCD, that is obsessive compulsive disorder. You may have medical problems, intellectual disability. 50% of kids with autism may have intellectual disability. Remember clearly, 50%. If your IQ is below 70, it is called ID, intellectual disability. If IQ is above 70 to 80, it is 70 to 90, it is borderline. Above 90, normal. If IQ is normal, that's a good prognosis. Epilepsy, 30% of kids with autism can have seizures or fits. So if they have fits, then they should definitely come to the pediatric neurologist like us or like me and get evaluated. Vision and hearing problems may be there. Behavior. So many behavioral issues are possible. Hyperactivity, restlessness, fidgetiness, aggressiveness, disruptiveness, stubbornness, multiple behavioral problems are possible. So we need to address those issues. Feeding. They have food fadism, food selectivity. It is extremely food resistance, extremely difficult sometimes to feed. They may have growth issues because of that. They may have constipation because of that. So feeding needs to be addressed. Another big domain is sleep. They may have difficulty in falling asleep, bedtime resistance, repeated awakening during the night time, cranky, excessive sleepy during the daytime. So, if your sleep is disturbed, your daytime behavior is disturbed. I have so many parents who come and say, previous day night, if he doesn't sleep, next day. So, sleep is of paramount importance if the child needs to go to a therapy the next day morning for a good session or for a good behavior. So, that needs to be addressed. Mood abnormalities, sensory disturbances, of course, hyperactivity. So nowadays, DSM-5 allows the diagnosis of autism plus ADHD. So all parents should understand ADHD is not same as autism. ADHD means attention deficit hyperactive disorder. But now DSM-5 allows the liberty of making a diagnosis of ASD plus ADHD. ASD is autism spectrum disorder. Next slide. Sleep we have discussed. 40 to 80% can have sleep problems. Next, please. Next. Next. So this slide is just to show how much have percentage can. So this is a very important question which every parent asks even after repeated consultations and repeated explanation. What is the cause of autism? There are so many kids who are born in India. I think roughly 16 million people, 16 million babies are born in India every year. But not all develop autism. Why for my child? This is a question which keeps on haunting every parent. For this, there is no exact definite answer. Please go to the next slide. So there are multiple mechanisms which are proposed, which remember proposed, not proven. It is still a mystery. They say it's because of abnormal connectivity among the brain cells called neurons, defect at the level of brain formation in the fetal life, neurotransmitter chemical imbalance in the brain. There is a concept of neurons called mirror neurons which are present in the brain. So all these are concepts, proposed mechanism. What exactly causes autism is still elusive, and it is not the blame of the parents or the blame of the mother or any intrinsic factor. It's still an unknown cause. Please go to the next slide. Okay. So by this, we will be discussing the genetics in subsequent slides. A small percentage of autism, that is autism with secondary features, may have a direct genetic cause. So by and large, autism has a genetic potential, but we will not be able to find out the exact genetic gene or exact causation in majority of cases. Go to the next slide. So we do come across many parents who come and say, doctor, we want to do a scan, or this person asks for a scan, he asks for a scan. MRI scan is not essential in all patients. It is required only those who have focal deficits. That means one side of the body is not moving. He has weakness of one side. Any specific neurological features. Dysmorphic features. Dysmorphic means we will have specific clues from the face. Skin changes and head size abnormalities. Not all kids with autism require routine MRI. This is an important message. Please, next slide. Similarly, EEG is not routinely indicated. I do come across so many autism children who come with a printout of EEG saying this doctor did the EEG which is abnormal. He started on the medicine, there is no response. EEG is indicated when you have fits, unexplained neurological features like encephalopathy or cognitive decline, not in all cases. Next, genetics. This is very important. Genetics is coming up in a big way. Go to the next slide. So, genetic evaluation is recommended by American Academy of Pediatrics in certain situations, like a very large or very small head size, a strong positive family history, or dysmorphism. In 10% of patients with autism, we may be able to find an exact genetic cause. For example, even the commonest syndrome, Down syndrome, may be associated with the autistic features. Next slide. So we will evaluate the child in if required, we will do a genetic test if required. Remember the words if required. There are certain tests available called karyotype, MLPA, RACGH. Depending on the underlying condition, clinical suspicion, we will do this test, not routinely for all. And particularly the family is planning subsequent pregnancies, we will do genetic counseling. If required, we will take the help of the geneticist and help the family out. Next slide. What is the role of other cells? Heavy metal testing like lead or mercury is required only if there is an exposure. Like say somebody is working near a battery unit where lead poisoning is possible, but not in all. Allergy tests, hair mineral tests, immunological tests, vitamin assay, yeast, gut analysis, all these are not recommended in routine normal patients. Next, please. Yeah. So coming to the main crux, management. Next, please. So it is not a single person's job. Let me explain very clearly. Here, the family plays the central role. Around the family, all the specialists act in tandem. Among these specialists, pediatric neurologists or developmental pediatricians play the cornerstone of management. This management is essentially provided by behavioral therapists, clinical psychologists, occupational therapists, depending on the facilities available. Other persons have role like geneticists in kind of genetic conditions, special educators. So what I am trying to say, it's a team effort. It's not a single person's effort. Everybody has their own unique role, as well as they have to coordinate with the other specialists involved in the management of child with autism. Generally, we say three prongs: home-based management, therapy-based management, then the school-based management. We will be discussing in subsequent slides. Next slide. Yeah. So this is the mainstay, that is psychological intervention or behavioral intervention. We have various behavioral therapies available. Modified applied behavior analysis called ABA, which develops the core skills of the child. There is an ABA kit available. It plays the principles of reinforcement operant condition. Sensory integration is for sensory issues. Is integrating the sensory integration strategies, and the kits are available. And there is another way called structured teaching, explicit information for tasks and routines. This has to be done by personnel who are trained in that core areas, ABA certified, SI certified personnel. So there is a lack of, I would say, technology or lack of information in our country. So there is a huge gap. So it is a time to bridge this gap. I am sure the company like startups like Moms Believe will play a role in bridging these gaps. Go to the next slide. Yeah, so applied behavior analysis we have discussed. We need to have ABA certified personnel who will work with the kid in tandem with the family to improve their core features. What are the core features? Social communication and interaction, restricted repetitive behavior, and stereotyped sensory issues. Sensory issues can be taken care by sensory integration. So it is recommended to have say 2 to 3 hours of sessions over a period with a possible gap, and it is also supplemented with the schooling or the special education, whatever the child goes. So everything will work as a complementary to each other. Go to the next. This we have discussed. Next, please. Yeah. So that is the role of the behavioral therapist. Now let's go to the supportive medical management. That is the role of the pediatric neurologist or behavioral pediatrician. Next slide. Is there any medicine for autism? This is the eternally haunting question for us. Whenever we give a medicine, we always do a risk versus benefit analysis. Even FDA, Federal Drug Administration of United States, has approved atypical antipsychotics that aripiprazole, risperidone only for behavioral issues. Only if there is a problem behavior which is unmanageable, we need to give. We do not prescribe this medicine right and left. If your child has a severe problem behavior, depending on what is the issue, we will prescribe these medicines to bring down the behavioral problems. Next slide, not as a routine. Some other drugs can also help, like fluoxetine for anxiety. Methylphenidate can be used for hyperactivity. Next, and drugs should not be used over the counter, should be used only with the prescription of the doctor, pediatric knowledge. Almost every parent asks me, is there any role of stem cell therapy? There are no studies which are proven. Safety data is not available. Currently, there is no role of stem cell therapy in autism. Government of India has banned the usage of stem cell therapy out of research. So I would strongly advocate parents not to go fall as victims to quackery and quacks and those who claim we can treat autism by stem cell therapy. Next slide. Is there any role of dietary therapy? There are no evidence, conclusive evidence. Many people will say gluten-free diet, casein-free diet, MCT-based diet. Trials are still going on. Still, now we haven't got any definitive answer. If you ask me for my patients, I advise go for a normal diet. Next slide. Yeah, there is a big area called CAM, complementary alternative medicine, wherein the routine allopathic uh, medicine systems, beyond that we go for other medical systems. We means not as allopathic practitioners, like sometimes the parents. So it's a group of diverse medical systems and practices that are not considered conventionally. Is there any role of CAM? Let's go one by one. Next slide. Yeah, melatonin is a drug which can be used for sleep problems. It's a safe medicine which will be prescribed by the pediatric neurologist if there is a sleep problem, in addition to their sleep hygiene measures. There is some evidence to say B6 and magnesium, that is multivitamin, can improve social communication skills, but still under studies. Next slide. Routine B12 is not recommended. If you have vitamin deficiency, we can give multivitamin. Next slide. Some practitioners do prescribe omega-3 fatty acids for stereotypies, for GI problems, probiotics. If there is iron deficiency, iron. If there is a heavy metal toxicity, chelation. So if these issues are there, and there may be a role of these agents under specified conditions. Next, please. These are not recommended. Ascorbic acid, immune therapy, all these are not recommended. Physical activities are encourageable. Music therapy may be tried. There is no role of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Next, please. Music therapy is coming up. At least there is no proven harm in this. Many studies have shown some benefits. So the type of music, timing, frequency are being studied. So if somebody is already on music therapy, there is no harm in continuing that, but it has to be an active individualized therapy. Please go to the next. Okay. Genetic counseling, very, very important. Next slide. So when I have a first child with autism, what is the risk in the subsequent pregnancy? So if you have first child is a girl child with autism, 7% chance of recurrence. If you have a boy with autism, 4% chance of recurrence. If the second child also has autism, the recurrence increases to 25 to 35%. So, so it's always good to have a genetic counseling before planning subsequent pregnancies. Next slide. So there are so many issues related to sexuality. If any parents have any specific questions, we can go to that slide. We can share the slides if those who have special issues. But when they become sexually active or when they reach sexually maturity, lot of issues needs to maybe coming up. So which the parents need to be aware and able to tackle or cope up with the problems. Next slide. Next, because sexuality issues are coming. Next. Yeah, if it is a girl child who is reached the menstrual age, one need to be very careful about menstrual hygiene, and there is a role of contraception coming up. So this, if there are any specific parents, we can address those issues. Next slide. Next. 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 Okay. So last few slides. So what are the legal rights of autistic children? So we know in Indian constitution, every person has fundamental rights. Even children with autism have their own rights. What are those rights? Go to the next slide. So there is a body called National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation. It provides legal guardian. So a child with autism have their own rights. If you go into their website, you can go and see the full details. Ministry of Finance has given income tax exemption for parents of children with autism according to Section 80D. I don't know how many parents who pay income tax are aware of this, because this certificate can be signed even by a pediatric neurologist. So make use of such exemptions which are given by the government. Next slide. Next, please. Okay, so the National Trust provides the economic rehabilitation, wage employment in organized sector, self-employment. There is 3% reservation in government establishments, and it also helps provides loans up to 3 lakhs for self-employment. For this also applies for autistic kids. Next, this we have already discussed tax benefits for family with autism, and Reserve Bank operational account. There is a separate operational account for children with autism under the National Trust Act. Next, please. So I would encourage the parents to use Section 80D if they are paying income tax. Next, please. Okay. So there is something called Niramaya, which is the government-sponsored health insurance scheme which covers patients with autism. Previous. Niramaya is an insurance scheme for patients with autism. So please utilize such cashless schemes which can cover both inpatient and outpatient services. Remember, outpatient service also is covered up to 1 lakh. For below poverty line patients, premium can be paid by the National Trust itself. So use such government-sponsored schemes for children with autism. Next. Next, please. School education. Go to the next slide. So many times parents ask, should we enroll in the normal school or a special school, or what kind of schooling? That one has to assess their uh, uh, basic levels, their vision, hearing, their perceptual qualities, their IQ, and then need to prescribe the schooling. But majority of children who have normal IQ can go to normal school, or sometimes you may have special school with a shadow teacher or a special educator. So these are required in some situations. So that we and the psychologists will help you out. But according to CBSE, persons with disabilities, there has been relaxation which is given for timing, the option of studying one language. So many relaxations have been given by these agencies as well. Go to the next. Next, please. Yeah, so there is something called RCI. Next, please. Rehabilitation Council of India, which helps in providing diploma courses for autism training. These courses are being conducted, registered, and maintained. We have even encouraged some of the parents to become specialists in this field instead of seeking for help. Why can't they empower themselves and provide help? So they themselves can become masters in autism management. So during using these kind of special educational skills. Next, please. NGOs needs to play a huge role here. There are so many NGOs. Autism Speaks. Next. Action for Autism, Autism Society of India, Communication Deal. I think parents should actually collaborate with such groups and foster a good environment for helping families and kids with autism. There are so many NGOs. I'm not going into the details. It's good to have an association with the NGOs which will promote early intervention training when they become adults, and inclusive education connects with the children of the family, and you can get to know the latest advancements, and it will empower your decisions as well. Next, please. Okay, so what is inclusive education? Next slide. So, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, the right of children to be free and compulsory education, they emphasize three aspects. For all children who is between 6 to 14, they have the right to school education. So, inclusive education has been provided for disabled, which also includes autism, for financial support, providing trainers, special educators, barrier-free environment. So, no school has a right to deny admission to a child because your child is autistic. If any school says that, please bring it to the level of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan officer or the district educational officer. The school has to provide trainers, special educators, barrier-free environment for inclusive education for every child. Next, please. Nursing role cannot be overemphasized. Next, please. So we have a huge role of nursing here, starting from education, diagnosis and referral, family counseling, access to need, case management, personal care, arranging healthcare visits. So some specialized institutes have their own autism nurses, so but may not be available in all institutes. Next, please. There is a role of speech therapy as well. Next, please. So speech therapy is generally provided by speech and language department. With each session is a therapist spend so that can improve the speech of the child. So we generally advocate the parents to spend more time with the child, improve their speech environment, provide speech stimulation to improve their speech skills. Next, please. Okay, so coming to the last part, what is the role of a parent? Next slide. First, you seek assistance of other parents, rely on positive sources in your life like counselors or your religion. Take it one at a time, one day at a time. Learn the terminologies. Seek information based on information providers like internet, support groups, library. So first, you seek information and help and find out what are we dealing with. Next, next, please. Do not get intimidated. Maintain a positive outlook. Previous one. Maintain a positive outlook. Previous slide. Yeah, find programs for your child, take care of yourself. Many times we say the parents, like they would say, I have lost this profession or I quit this profession for taking care of the child. That is that we say is not a proper approach. You need to take care of yourself as well to be able to take care of your child. So do not quit your profession for this sake. Decide how to deal with others. Keep daily routines as normal as possible for you. Know that you are not alone. We are there to help you. Most importantly, keep your sense of humor. Do not lose hope. Next. Training for kids with autism. Every educator will help you out. Therapist will help you out. But just few messages. Use visuals. Avoid long strings of verbal instruction. Encourage child's developmental special talents. Some kids with autism will have special talents like memory and all. Please encourage those special prodigial skills. Use child fixations to motivate schoolwork, concrete methods to teach number concepts, protect your child from sounds or abnormal stimuli. Next. Okay. Place the child near a window and avoid using fluorescent lights. Interact with the child while or he is swinging or rolled in a mat. Don't ask child to look and listen at the same time. Do one at a time. Teach with tactile learning like a sandpaper alphabet. Use printed words and pictures on a flashcard. Generalize your teaching concepts. Don't be very specific. Next. Next, please. Okay, so that brings us to the end. So this Role of parents. I have given a very snapshot. I think when we discuss with individual parents, we may be able to understand. We all know it is easy to prescribe, but difficult to follow. So it has to be individualized. Everybody has to take it as a challenge because they can't change for us. We have to change for them. And thank you for patient listening. I'm ready to take any questions and clarifications. These are my
Okay.
contact details. Yeah.
So we have many questions in the chat box. We can go one by one. Should I read it for you?
Sure.
Okay.
I can also read. Yeah, okay, you can read out. Yeah.
Okay. Faizar Rahman is asking, so what is the meaning of empowerment of daily functioning?
Yeah. So this is very important. This is a subjective term. For example, you have a child who is speaking less, but otherwise his activities of day-to-day living are normal. What do you mean by that? It depends on what is your age. For example, 2-year-old, what do you think is the activity of daily living? He will be playing, he will be communicating with the parents, his needs. That's all. So if his speech level is not even able to match that functioning level, for example, he is not able to communicate his basic needs like hunger, or if he's passing urine or stools, basic emotions, he's not able to convey that. That is impairment of daily living. For example, a 3 to 5 year old kid should be going to kindergarten. So he should be able to speak few words, to communicate, to learn, to make friends. If that is impaired, that is called activities of impairment of daily function. So the functioning impairment depends on the functioning ability of that age. I think I have made sense with this answer. Yeah.
Okay. Next question by Asha Rahim. How long the assessment might take for doctor to confirm the diagnosis?
Yeah. So it depends on the learning curve of the doctor. So I take only say 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes it may take up to 20 to 30 minutes. So DSM-5, it should not take beyond 30 minutes for entire history examination and assessment for diagnosis. I am not meaning the severity CAR score. I'm just meaning the DSM-5. It should not take beyond 20 to 30 minutes. Just one more point, like for young patients, like less than 2 years, there is a tool called MCHAT, MCHAT, which can be used for identification of at risk, mild risk, moderate risk, or severe risk for autism. That will take only 10 minutes for parents administration. Yeah.
Asking, is development delay and autism both are same?
No, developmental delay is a broader term. It can have global developmental delay like gross motor, fine motor, language, and speech. In autism, also you have developmental delay, but the developmental delay is only there in the domain of speech, language, and communication. Motor domain, motor means walking, running. This domain is normal. So, autism is also a category of developmental delay, but not all developmental delay will amount to autism. So, development can be a delay in any domain. Both are not same.
Okay. So next question by Dr. Masira. How to toilet train autistic children? My son is 9 years old and still refuses to use toilet for passing urine and stools.
Yeah, that's a very common question. I totally empathize with the parent. So we need to use something called visual cards or visual cues. Teach them the routine, give them incentives for doing things in a positive way. Do not use negative feedback mechanisms like punishment and all. And I am sure your therapist and your occupational therapist will also help you in providing specific details about toilet training. So this specific thing you should discuss with the therapist because he has been with your child, so he can understand your child's scope of skills. So he may be able to guide you in specific. But to give a generalized answer, it's about visual cues and following daily fixed routines. That is how we need to teach.
Okay. So Rajesh Chauhan is asking, what are the mandate test parents need to do, like vitamin thyroid, fungal infection, or many blood tests? How long OT helpful to child, and what is the percentage of curable of autism? What should be the supplements?
Okay, so got it. There is no specific rest required unless we are suspecting them. If you are suspecting a vitamin deficiency like a B12 deficiency, then we'll go for that. Otherwise, there is no need to do routine test. If the child is anemic, we'll go for blood counts and hemoglobin and iron. So that the doctor will decide. So there is no need for the parents to undergo some test or parents to perform some test. How long OT will be helpful? See, it depends on the child's underlying condition, the severity, the access to therapy, and also the center available child's response. So this is difficult to generalize how long to give for each child, but generally we say 4 to 6 years. Beyond 4 to 6 years, we need to modify the therapy according to the child's skills. Curable autism, there is a small percentage of autism which occurs due to specific genetic defects, which may not be very evidently known for the parents, whereby we administer some special drugs. That is very specific situation, maybe less than 1%. I haven't come across that condition, so that may be curable, but it is generally a secondary metabolic condition. For example, there is a condition called phenylketonuria. It's an inborn error of metabolism, where if you detect early and give the proper diet for that condition, the child can improve. So that is what is called curable. By and large, the routine, the primary autisms which we discuss about, there is no medical kind of a cure for them. So that is what it is. Supplement or nutrition, any child with autism should have a balanced diet. We should prevent any nutritional deficiencies. So give nutritional diet, supplement them with all the vitamins according to the balanced diet.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah.
We have a next question by Divya. Hi, mother of 3.5 years old boy here. He's responding only to academic stuffs and remains zero in communication aspect. He counts from 1 to 30, says alphabets, spells fruits, names, and pronounce correctly, identifies real fruits, vehicles, vegetables. He's calling very family members in photo but not in real. When will it be able to communicate? He has no behavior issues. It's only sensory and social communication that's lagging. Please enlighten the probability statistics of recovery rate kids with these issues have, just to prepare myself to work on him. Thanks in advance.
Yeah, so thank you, Divya Rajashekar, being a wonderful mother of 3.4-year-old kid. So I would say, like, you have started recognizing his problem early. You have started to work on him early. So earlier you identify the problem, earlier to start work on, better will be the outcome. That's a single message I can convey for you. And you specified zero in communication aspect, but I am sure, like, over a period of time with your therapies, behavior therapies, ABA, and you can also include speech therapy if required, so he definitely will improve. So follow the 3 strategy which I told. Home based intervention, that is the intervention which you learn from your therapist, what you can do, your family can do, your family members can do at home, spending time with the child at home. That is home based intervention. Next is therapy based intervention, which you will be doing from a therapy center 2 to 3 hours per week. Third is schooling. With the help of this 3-pronged intervention, definitely there is a scope for improvement. It's difficult to give statistics because individual person will behave in an individual way, but every child has a scope to improve. I am sure your child will improve. Best of luck for your efforts.
Okay. Deepa Gupta is asking, hello sir, is Sarva Siksha Abhiyan is applicable on both government and private schools?
It is applicable to both. Any private school, if they say I can't admit your child because your child is autistic, you can directly complain to the educational officers. They may not have the facilities. That is another problem. But they can't deny admission based on the only fact because your child is autistic. It's applicable for both.
Next question by Vidushi. Can autistic kids who regress in speech talk again? Are there any cases?
Speech regression between 1.5 to 2 years is generally part and parcel of autism. So that's very common. So generally we say speech regression, which happens after 3 years of age in an otherwise pre-morbidly normal child. We need to rule out some other conditions like epileptic regression. General speech regression in autistic children between 1.5 to 2 years is very common. And as you asked, basically her question is, will they regain it? With proper interventions, with proper available support, they can regain it. Yes, there are cases who develop, regain it.
Okay, Soumya is asking, what about Cognicare? Should it be given? I think we have answered.
Yeah, so it is also under the category of complementary alternative medicine. There are parents who come to us, they're already on Carnicare. So if anybody is already on a CAM practice, complementary alternative medicine practice, unless it is overtly harmful to them, we don't say you stop it. So as far as I have seen, Cognicare has not shown to be harmful. If you feel as a parent it is showing benefit for your child, you give for a variable period, say up to 6 months to 1 year. I would not suggest to give continuously forever, maybe 6 months to 1 year. You can try if it is giving benefit. Remember, it is not a drug approved by Drug Controller of India. It is a product approved by FSSA, Food Safety Society Authority of India. It is being marketed as a food supplement. So it's a kind of it's kind of a vitamin for brain. So no harm in giving it, but not for continuously. 6 months to 1 year.
Okay. Is that reading and writing necessary in their life skills?
Absolutely necessary. Reading and writing are essential part of learning. So everybody one should always focus on that. So basically, they is asking about their life skills. So they may have certain specific skills in one area, lesser skills in another area. So we should focus on each and every aspect of their skills. Reading and writing is also an important skill. If we can achieve those skills and improve those skills, it will have an impact on their professional life as well.
Okay, what should do for development delay?
Developmental delay is a broad term. Herein we are discussing about autism. Even for otherwise, developmental delay depends on what domain it is. If it is a motor delay, we'll focus on physiotherapy. Speech delay, we focus on speech development, speech stimulation, speech therapy. Social communication interaction, like in autism, we deal with behavior therapy. So basically, it's also a therapy-based management.
Okay. Child improved a lot, but scripting not vanishing completely. Following ABA, but scripting not able to overcome.
I am not able to understand. What do you mean by scripting?
Okay, we can take next question.
I think you can elaborate what do you mean by scripting in your subsequent slides. Yeah.
Question by Sonia. My son is 6.8. He's potty trained but not toilet trained. I use visual too, but if I miss bringing him to toilet, he'll do in pants. How to help him?
Okay. So basically, I think you are telling about urinary control. So over a period of time, I think he will also achieve it. I understand it is difficult. So there is no another way. So you keep on focusing on the visual cues, visual cards. You keep your routine. You focus on daily teaching, daily kind of positive feedback. Give him a reward if he informs you in advance. That will kind of positively reinforce. You keep your work as a kind of a task, like for your own achievement. So you reward yourself also. So this is the only way to achieve it. I think it will take time, but you need to focus on that. And also take the help of your therapist if he can help you out in that situation, because he knows your child much better.
Okay. So we will take last two questions. So the question is by Rajesh Chauhan. My daughter, 3.5 years, is hitting every object on walls, repetitions of words, hitting to parents. She has language communication problem, only 20 to 30 single or two words, tantrum. She has also sensory issues. We are taking OT sessions now. Some changes like good social interactions, attention span increased.
Okay, so why, from what I understand, is hitting parents, a lot of behavioral issues, tantrums. So if there is a significant problem behavior, we may require medicines also. Like as I told you, aripiprazole, risperidone. I understand that you are giving OT sessions. Please periodically consult a pediatric neurologist or developmental pediatrician if available. If required, we may have to start some low dose medicine to bring her behavior down. That will also aid in better therapy and her own improvement.
Okay. Next question by Divya. Thank you for valuable response, sir. He is under speech and OT only for past 6 months. I'm not much aware about ABA. Will my kid require ABA intervention? Could not find centers that provide ABA in Chennai. If needed to improve his communication, will surely look for it. Kindly enlighten.
This is a problem even for us. That's what I address in my talk also. We have very less number of properly trained and certified personnel. That is why I would like such startups like Moms Believe, if they can bring together a kind of a network of specialists who are certified and who can work as a team for benefit of such patients, which are easily accessible, it will be a boon. So, do you have any ABA certified personnel in your team?
Doctor, sorry to interrupt. This is Rajesh.
Yeah, I am asking Moms Believe.
Yeah. So we have an ABA therapist with us. Okay, so they are BCBA certified ABA therapist with us. Currently, we are running with an e-therapy, like online sessions with the assessments as well. So probably down the line, we will come up with the ABA.
Why don't you directly contact Divya Rajashekhar if she can help you out?
Definitely, we can help them out.
We have dropped a mail ID in the chat box. You
Yeah.
can.
I think now she is in the call. Hi, ma'am, Divya Rajshekhar. So we do have the ABA therapist with us. So like the certified ABA therapist. So probably we can support you in terms of ABA therapy. We can take it up. So if you can drop a mail, so we will be providing you the contact details. So at the end, sir, we will be dropping the email ID. So whoever required like ABA, we can take it up for sure.
So you have an ABA certified specialist. That's the response. That's very good. I think you can contact her. Yeah.
Okay. We have few more questions. Can kid improve from moderate to mild to borderline to out of?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Thanks for asking that question. See, I told there is no medical drug miracle cure for autism, but that doesn't mean they will never improve. They do improve both naturally as a part of natural process as well as with the help of interventions. There are kids who go out of the criteria of autism spectrum disorder. So there is a possibility the label can go away over a period of time. The answer to your question is yes, they can improve and they can go out of spectrum. Excellent question.
Next, we have what causes autism?
Yeah, just once again, that person Sarvesh, I think he was scripting. He is saying keep on repeating same sentence again and again. So that is echolalia, what he is trying to say. So echolalia is a behavior. Remember, it is not a kind of a vocal cord problem. It's a behavior problem that I think the management of each and every core behavior is behavior therapy. Behavior therapy, which we are addressing here, is ABA. There are so many behavior therapies available. I am sure the ABA therapist will have a particular technique to control that behavior, that is echolalia. You need to inform your therapist, my child's main problem is echolalia. So the therapist has to work on that problem behavior. That is the principle of ABA, operant condition. Yeah.
What causes autism?
We have discussed. To be frank, there is no definite proven cause for autism. I generally say it is multifactorial. We don't know the exact single factor, starting from your antenatal period, influence of environmental, influence of multiple factors like parents' age, influence of genetics. So there is no single point, single cause. Maybe multiple factors can play a role, but why only one child? There are so many kids born, 16 million kids. We are all in the same environment, same kind of pollution level, but only few develop. That is because of the partly added genetic predisposition. So I would say we can't find out the exact cause, but the proposed reason could be the interplay of both environmental reason plus a genetic predisposition.
Okay. Next question by Sonia Sethi. How can we work with obsessions with clothes? Means my son is too much obsessed with collar t-shirts. He keeps looking collar of the t-shirt or ask the person to choose the button. How can I reduce his obsession?
Okay, so basically, she herself has put the word obsession. This may come under the category of an obsessive compulsive behavior, OCD. If it is too much excessive, we can take the help of a child psychiatrist, uh, and we can start medicines if required. So, if it is an obsessive compulsive behavior, this may be part of a comorbidity.
Next question by Anvi. Hello, my daughter is 3.5 now and completely non-vocal. She's good at everything, pointing, eye contact, puzzling, and my mood identification, etc. But she doesn't talk at all, not even yes or no, or calling me Amma, anything she's babbling.
Okay, so I can understand their worry and concern. Completely verbal. So this is also this is what exactly I'm trying to say. Spectrum. So one person told he can speak everything, count 1 to 30. But here you don't have any single word. So it's a difficult situation. I understand. So whatever may be the baseline, we can do things to improve on that. So she will definitely need speech therapy also in addition to your behavioral therapies. We need to work on that. Are you on speech therapy, Anvi?
There is one more question. Can only environmental factor
Karan,
cause?
probably if you can unmute the parent Anvi, so they would let us know like whether the kid is in speech therapy.
Okay. Anvi, you can, yeah.
Hello, doctor. Good evening.
Yeah. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Dubai right now.
Okay. So is she on speech therapy as well?
I just started taking early intervention in mom's belief.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, because last year when I booked the appointment with the doctor, this pandemic attacked and my booking was cancelled. So I had to wait till now to get the online therapies.
Has speech therapy been initiated?
Not yet, doctor.
So
It's just a week that we started.
Do you have the facility for speech therapy, e-speech therapy, mom's belief?
Yes, doctor. We do have a
I think you need to flag that issue because 3.5 years completely verbal. We need to focus on that also.
Okay, doctor. I'll speak with them.
I hope they will help you out. They need to focus on speech also. And as a parent, I think the three prongs which I told you, right? Home based, therapy based, and school based.
Yes, doctor.
In all these, devote majority of your time and energy to speech.
Okay.
Best wishes. I think she will improve over a period of time. Have hope
Thank you,
and work on them. Yeah.
Okay, we have a last question in the chat box. My son is 2.10 years old. He doesn't speak at all and does not understand simple things. But all other activities he does, like including eating by himself, not potty trained, but I have observed since I stopped his screen time, his eye contact and improved a lot.
That is good. His eye contact has improved. I think the major concern here is speech Same, I think same, but his age is 2.10. So there is a good scope for improvement. So please focus on therapy, speech therapy, and as I told, behavioral therapy. He will definitely improve.
Okay.
So probably there is one more question, like how do we get the kid tested for autism? So
Yeah, so that is essentially clinical, as I told you. So you need to consult a pediatrician or a pediatric neurologist or developmental pediatrician according to your ease. So if you are staying far away or not able to come to the hospital, Moms Belief can arrange a e-consult with us.
Okay. So participants, if you have any other query, you can simply write to us on
There is one last
contact@momsbelief.com.
question, Kanta Rishi. How can we check their development any particular period? Is there any way you can develop by checklist? So developmental assessment is done as a part of autism evaluation. There are specific tools available. The psychologist has to administer them in detail.
Is there one more question? How can we work with obsessive compulsive behavior?
Okay, so I think this is a family, that mother who's the t-shirt obsession he has, right? So is it possible to arrange a separate consultation for them? Because we'll discuss in detail with them the individual thing. Maybe we can have a child psychiatrist in the loop. If required, we can prescribe medicine or intervention for that.
Can only environmental factor leads to autism-like symptoms?
Yeah, that's a very important question. See, excessive screen time, isolation, both parents are working, bilingualism at home. These are advanced parental age. So these are some of the environmental factors which are proposed. But these environmental factors alone may not contribute. Along these factors should be taken care of, for sure. But not all kids with these factors alone develop autism-like symptoms. There is a kind of inherent genetic potential, but one needs to take care of these environmental factors for sure, no doubt.
Is ABA therapy more necessary for my kid than OT? Who has sensory and communication issues? Please enlighten on ABA.
Absolutely. ABA is the mainstay of behavioral therapy for core features of autism. That is social communication and problem, restricted repetitive behavior. Sensory issues, sensory integration.
I think this is it, doctor. Thank you so much,
Please
doctor.
do send us your feedback. Yeah, so please get the feedback of the parents. Thank you, parents, for their overwhelming participation and for freely asking questions without any hesitations. Thank you for opening up. Thank you, Moms Willie, for arranging such a interactive session. It helped me to have a kind of an opportunity with a one-to-one with some parents. Yeah.
thank you, doctor, so much for your valuable time and addressing for the parents. So definitely, I think this was a wonderful session. Like many parents would have got like whatever the information that they wanted to know. So thanks for your valuable time, and thanks for all the parents who have participated in this webinar. So I think we have dropped the email ID. So whatever the queries, you can send it across to that email. So we'll take it up. And the recorded session will be we will upload it in YouTube so very shortly. So probably whoever had registered in the link that we had provided, probably we can send it across the link to your respective contact numbers as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And you all have a great evening.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.